how do you analyze a boat and RV storage facility to understand if it is a good investment or not? I'm gonna come here to loopnet.com, and again, this is free for anybody who wants to come, and I'm gonna click this advanced search button. Okay, now the next thing that I'm gonna do whenever this loads up is I'm gonna tell it that I'm really only looking for self-storage. So I'm gonna come to specialty, and I'm gonna come down to self-storage, and I'm gonna come over to keyword, and I'm just gonna type in RV. Okay, so what that's gonna do is only show me self-storage facilities that have the keyword RV somewhere inside of it. See, we've gotten rid of a lot, and there's only 30 results nationwide. They're definitely still way more regular self-storage than strictly boat and RV storages. And as we scroll through here, you can see this looks like it's a straight up boat and RV storage. This looks like there's some just traditional storage here. But I'm looking for one that's strictly boat and RV. Like if we were just to do boat and RV storage, what would that look like? We're not looking for RV parks. We're looking for places where people park their stuff. They don't sleep in it. They don't use it there. This is where they store it because they can't store it in their HOA. Their HOA doesn't allow them to park it in their driveway. They rent an apartment. They can't park it at their apartment. They're looking for somewhere to store their stuff. This one right here looks pretty good. This one right here looks like it's straight up just RV storage. I don't really see any buildings besides this on it right now. So let's read through this together to see if this is a good one to analyze. This is back available, which means that at one point it wasn't. Email this guy for the full due diligence package. Rare opportunity to purchase 7.9 acres, land assemblage over 4 parcels. So we're buying 7.9 acres, 220 feet of frontage along Highway 99, just south of Florin Road exit. Existing boat and RV storage business operates on just over 5 acres with more than 400 spaces available. Current gross income, so revenue, current revenue of $400,000 from the business, which will be transferred to the buyer. Okay, includes 3 acres of unused area, which was previously a RV sales center, and includes a 3719 square foot building with 5 drive-through roll-up doors. Zoning of GC on the 3-acre site and AC allows for the 4.9 acre parcels. Okay, cool. So first thing that my head goes to is this is good. Really what I'm interested in is this 5 acres here that is already producing $400,000 of revenue a year. That's what I'm looking for. And then it comes with this little bump. It comes with this little bump of 3 acres, which I'm assuming is like this space right through here that is unused. And my first question is, hey, in this GC zoning, are we allowed to do boat and RV storage? Because here's the thing, is boat and RV storage is frowned upon by a lot of governments. They normally like to see boat and RV storage done in an industrial or a heavy commercial type of zoning. Really the biggest limitation to getting in to boat and RV storage is finding land that's zoned correctly, that doesn't have, this highest and best use of, some industrial building on it where somebody is willing to pay a lot more. And especially through, kind of the 2020 era as industrial boomed, it's definitely driven the price of that land up. So I would want to go research to understand if this 3 acres, which used to be used, I think it says for RV storage sales here. So it used to be used for RV storage sales, which is currently vacant, which is included in the price of the $5.5 million. Can we do RV and boat storage on there? Because if it's different, right, when they say that we have 4 parcel, land assemblage, that means there's 4 different parcels here. And even though they're all connected, you may be able to do RV storage on these 2 parcels, but you can't do it on these 2. So we'd have to figure that out. I'm not going to do that on this video. What I am going to try to figure out for you guys, how much would I be willing just to pay for this? Okay, that's what we're going to be looking for. This extra land kind of throws a red herring in there. So we're just going to analyze the existing revenue there and see how much we may be willing to pay for that. And then I'll talk to you about the steps of what I would do to figure out how much that extra land is worth, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to My Property Stats, which is the software I created to help you analyze deals. I'm going to analyze a new deal from scratch, and we're just going to get down on doing this real quick. So this is Desert Mountain, boat, and RV storage, and I think they said 400 units. Is that correct? 400 spaces available, so we'll do 400 units. The price is $5.5 million. It's a commercial property, so we're gonna use a cap rate, and I'm gonna use a 7 cap. We're analyzing on November 30th, 2022. Interest rates are probably still going up in December, but a 7 cap on existing revenue is probably pretty fair, especially in somewhere like California, although personally I would never buy in California. So we got our price in, and we'll just do self-storage. We got our price in here. Let's look at some debt terms, okay? So 75% LTV, that's great. We'll borrow $4.125 million. Normal amortization. We need to put, this is going to be a 20-year loan. Self-storage, boat and RV storage, we can get 20-year amortizations. We cannot get 30. We could do 25 if we were doing SBA loans, but I'm looking at a traditional loan here because SBA rates are like 9% right now. On the 7A program at least. The rate I'm going to use, I think I can get a traditional at about 6.75 today, okay? Which that's going to raise my monthly payment to $31,365 on that debt, okay? Now let's just say, and again, looking through here, I would want to make sure there's like a keypad and everything, which I would email this broker for the full kind of package here. Maybe it needs a new fence. You can see that this fence is kind of leaned over. If we're buying this billboard, there's probably some revenue there we need to figure out. It does look like there's a gate to this RV storage over here. We want to figure out if there's camera systems, what else may need to be done. Maybe to the building. What is all this electrical about here? Would want to figure out more details, and again, that's where I'd contact the broker. I'm not going to do that because they'll make me be confidential on it. What we're doing right now, I can do non-confidentially. So improvements, I'll say 0. Closing costs, I'm going to do 1%, $55,000. Okay, and then working capital, again, this is money that sits in a bank account to run the business. If you don't know what I'm talking about, grab my second book, Skip to Flip 2. I talk to you about working capital, why it's important, how much you need. My personal rule is I do 2 months of everything. Okay, so this is going to get up a little bit higher, but this is 2 months of my debt service so far. Okay, so let's kind of read through this. $5.5 million purchase price, $0 of improvements, closing costs $55,000, working capital $62,000. Total cost of this deal, which is just all these added up. And then our debt is $4.125 million. So the total cost minus our debt is the cash needed to close this deal, almost $1.5 million. Okay. So let's run through and let's start to just analyze the income. Step 1, purchase info, done. Okay. Now let's go through and analyze. And again, guys, I'm just analyzing this right here, which of course, the purchase price of 5.5 that I have plugged in includes all of it. We're just trying to figure out what is a fair value for this, and then we can look at this land separately. Okay, we're always, when we're buying boat and RV storage or regular storage facilities, we're just trying to figure out what is the value of the revenue that's in place. That's what we're buying. Now, sometimes we'll pay a little bit more if there's a significant upside, like in this case, but really we want to feel good about what we're buying, covers our debt service, covers our expenses, and pays us cash flow today. That's what it's all about, is making sure all that happens, okay? So let's go through and read again. They have, with more than 400 spaces available, I would reach out, again, to try to get exactly how many spaces, what are they renting for, what are the different sizes, do any of them have electrical hooks up, things of that nature. But we're just going to kind of analyze this. They have 400 spaces, and they're doing $400,000 a year. So we're going to make a couple of assumptions. The first assumption I'm going to make here is obviously that each space generates $1,000 a year in revenue. $1,000 a year in revenue divided by 12 months is $83 a month. So what I'm going to say is I'm just going to say we have RV spaces, okay? And these RV spaces, we have 400 of them, okay? And we're going to say that the current monthly rate on these is $83. And we're also going to assume that that is the market value as well. Now, we could go look around in the market. We could, 95823. We could do RV storage 95823. Come to Google and we could look around, right? We could start, there's the facility right there. We could come and we could look at these competitors to understand how much are these guys charging, is $83 a month too little? Once I kind of got the details on what they're actually charging, I would even break down because, my hunch is whenever I look at this, they probably have some 20-foot RV spaces, maybe some 40-foots, and of course the 20-foots may rent for $50 a month, and the 40-foots may rent for $120 a month, and it comes out to averaging $83 a month. But I want to break down how much each space is, right? So this is RV spaces, kind of all. But once I got that due diligence information, I would go through, I get RV spaces 20 foot and maybe there's 100 of those. RV spaces 30 foot and maybe there's 200 of those. RV spaces 40 foot, maybe there's 100 of those, and kind of breaking that down. But you can see we got our revenue up to about $400,000 a year, just a little bit shy. If I wanted to get exact, I could do this. Let's see. There we go, $400,000 a year. Okay, that was step 2, just analyzing our income. Now I did it really fast. That's how I do it, or roughly when I don't have all the data. You can always analyze a deal without having a lot of data. You just have to use some common sense, okay? So next up is we're gonna go to expenses. Now, I could get as granular as I wanted to here. I could come in, I could look up the property taxes, I could look up all of that good stuff, which if I wanted to do that, then you can see that they've got some property tax information. I could go into the county records. I could look all this up. What I'm going to do for the sake of speed is I'm just going to analyze a 40% cost ratio. 40% of every dollar I bring in is going to be paid out to expenses. That is the standard. Sometimes it's lower, especially on big deals, and sometimes it's higher on smaller deals, right? Think about that. If it costs me the same in software, costs me the same in power, costs me the same in labor to run a 300 unit RV storage facility as it does a 400 unit RV storage facility. Cost me about the same dollar amount. So if I bring in more money and it costs me the same, then my expense ratio is going to go down. But we're just going to analyze a 40%. My hunch is that maybe this one's going to be a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to call this general, and I'm going to change this from a flat amount to a revenue percentage. I'm just going to say 40%, okay? Now it's going to show us that 40% of our revenue is going to get paid out in expenses. That's step 3, guys. Step three. Step 3 is analyzing our expenses. Now, really, guys, what I'm trying to show you, guys and girls, what I'm trying to show you is you can analyze these deals quickly, but the underwriting analysis process really works in stages. The first is just like, hey, back of napkin, which is what we're doing here. Does this deal work? How far off on price am I? And then you'd want to start getting more and more granular. After I get the due diligence packets, how much is utilities? How much is insurance? How much is repairs? What are they paying their landscaper? All of those fun things. So 40% expenses, then I'm just going to hit the pro forma button. We're going to come over here and we're going to see how good of a deal this is. And again, I'm just going to read through here. We've got $400,000 of income, $152,000 of expenses. That gives us a $228,000 NOI on a 7% cap rate. That makes our property value 3.257. Now remember, we inputted in here that we're paying $5.5 million. So obviously, if we're paying $5.5 million and this deal is only worth 3.25, that means that this other piece of land here, for us to even be buying this at a good price, this other piece of land needs to be worth the difference, right? Which is $2,300,000, $2,250,000. So is that 3 acres worth that much money if we put RVs on it, and could we be willing to? That's kind of the question, because right now at $5.5 million, this deal just would not work, okay? But I want to show you how we can figure out at what price would just the RV storage work. Again, that other piece is kind of a red herring. So we'll come to Goal Seek, and all we're doing right now is saying, hey, what is a good price for us to hit our financial goals? I like to make 15% on value add deals in year 2. This isn't really a value add deal because it's all there. So probably a fair rate would be a 10% cash on cash. And you could say in year 1, you just input that and it's going to tell us how much we could pay in order to hit this 10% cash on cash goal. Now, what it tells us is if we were buying just the RV storage, just this piece producing $400,000 a year at the assumptions that we've input, we could pay $2,352,862 in order to achieve our goals of hitting a 10% cash on cash. So what the system does in that time is it goes through, it reduces your down payment, changes your debt terms, it changes all of that good stuff, and it tells you exactly how much to pay in order to come through and to hit your goals, okay? So from a high level, that's how you analyze a boat and RV storage facility. 3 simple steps. What's the purchase price? What are my financing? What are my closing costs? Step 2, what's the income? What could the income be? Okay, and then step 3 is what are the expenses? We did it in a fast format because this is YouTube, attention spans are short, and we also want to know, how do we just get something done quickly? That's how you do it. I would get the due diligence package, I would refine my underwriting, and I'll get more and more granular on each of those expenses to come through. So if you found this video valuable and you've never been with me on this channel before, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe. We talk about self-storage, boat and RV storage, real estate investing all day, every day on this channel. And if you've been on the channel, as always, I appreciate you. Hit that like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend, and I'll see you in the next one.